Welcome, church family, to this church update. I am so glad that you're here. Change. Change is a word that I don't like, but I do tell people change is part of life. And one of the great changes that all of us experience has been physical distancing, and that impacted our church ministries. And lo and behold, from one Sunday we gathered at the school, the next we were at home. And so for me, that began the process of praying and thinking about, okay, God, where do we go from here? If we can't meet physically at the school, where are we going to meet? In that whole process, also, what God brought together was key leaders in our church, Beth, Edgar, and Jeff, to form a leadership team to help us corporately as a church think about where God is taking us, to help me think about the different aspects of church ministry and how to do that better, and think about our future together. And so in one of those conversations, one of them suggested, hey, Freddie, have you looked at the Lutheran Church in Temple City? And so by now you're wondering, where is Freddie standing? Because he's not standing in front of a great background. Well, right now I find myself on the campus of Bethlehem Lutheran Church here in Temple City. It's only about 3 minutes away from Clemenson School, where we would meet before. And so I started having conversations with the pastor here, Pastor Frank, a great pastor and man of God. And we shared a mutual family connection. Beth's grandma, who passed away last December, she would have been 98. She attended this congregation. This was her home church. And so we reminisced about that. And then we thought about what does it look like for Living Hope Church to rent this facility, to lease from them, so that we could do ministry here. And so their leaders had conversations, our leadership team had conversations, and I'm happy to report today that beginning in July, we're going to be leasing this beautiful campus here at Bethlehem Lutheran Church. As you can see from the pictures, the sanctuary is very spacious, and so when we gather again, physical in-person worship on Sunday morning in the middle of July, we'll be able to do physical distancing. And also, as you can see, that we have an outdoor area where we could talk and converse and visit. It's a beautiful patio area, grass area where we can hold events. We also have use of a fellowship hall and classrooms for our ministries. And so through it all, it's really been amazing to me to see God's hand and God's faithfulness in all of this. Truthfully, God brings surprises into our lives. And this was one that I really did not expect. And so right now, like I said, we are going to be starting to lease this property in July. And then we will physically be meeting for Sunday morning worship middle of July. So we have time to prepare. And I want to thank the congregation, for your generosity and your giving, your financial giving and donations, which is making all this possible. So for us to pay this lease. I also want to thank the pastor, Frank, and Bethlehem Lutheran Church for just their desire to have ministry partners, co-laborers in Christ. And they're excited to support our ministry through allowing us to lease. I also want to thank our leadership team for all their input, their wisdom, for the questions and conversations that we've had throughout these last few months. And again, most of all, I just want to thank God for His faithfulness. The story of Living Hope Church is one where God's hand of mercy has sustained our congregation through all this. And in the middle of all this COVID-19 pandemic situation, in the middle of it, there was a time where I was feeling like, God, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And God showed us His hand of mercy and His provision for our church. So I'm really thankful about where God is going to take us in this next new season of our church. The lease it will be only for 3 months, so that their congregation and our congregation can see how things are going. But our leadership team and their congregation really have a good sense that this probably is going to be longer than 3 months. because of just all the excitement and possibility of us doing ministry here. We continue to be a community church to minister to the families in Temple City and in Stillmani and the surrounding cities here in the San Gabriel Valley and in Southern California. And so I hope that you're praying not only for our congregation, but all of us corporately, or your leaders, me as your pastor, as we continue to think about what is this next season of ministry will look like. And so again, you'll get more information here in the near future about the exact date, but we're targeting mid-July for us to worship in person. And that gives us some time to gather things together and make sure that we have everything in order for us to worship together physically. So again, thank you, church family, for tuning in today. And I look forward to seeing you in our Sunday morning online worship at 10:30 on Facebook and YouTube. And go in the peace of Christ that passes all understanding.